So welcome to my kitchen today. My name is Jillian, Jill from Team Joe Barr, and I'm Joe's partner. And I'm also a nutritionist, so that makes Joe a very lucky guy as far as I'm concerned. Not only do I manage his performance nutrition both on and off the bike, I also prepare it and cook it all day, every day. So I think he's a pretty lucky guy. But then I'm a pretty lucky girl too, because he's pretty great. And you may feel that what has performance nutrition got to do with you if you're not an athlete? And make no mistake, I think our days are often an endurance journey just on their own. We wake up in the morning, it's like a start line, and you know you've got a lot of tasks to get through, and you know there's going to be obstacles put in your way, and you have to fuel yourself through that 12-hour plus day until you get to the finish line, which is in the evening. So performance nutrition has a whole lot to do with you, because you do have to go the distance, just like Joe. So what better fuel to start the day to break your fast than a really good, solid performance bowl? And that's what we're going to talk about how to build today. So let's start with building your oatmeal performance bowl. Now, my preferences for Joe and myself, I use two different cuts of oat, two different kinds of oats. I use the jumbo oats and I use the fine cut oats. And you can really see the difference in the size of the flake. You've got your jumbo oats, big surface, flatter and bigger surface area versus your fine cut oats, which of course are cut in smaller flakes. What I like about the jumbo oat is that larger surface area, and that larger surface area takes longer for your gut to break down. So that means it provides steady energy for longer. And what I really like about mixing it with a fine cut oat is the fine cut oat adds beautiful smooth texture. It makes it creamy. So I have the best of both worlds. And for a typical start to my day, I would use a quarter cup of jumbo and a quarter cup of fine cut. Now, I know a lot of people will tend to weigh ingredients. I don't know who has the time to weigh ingredients first thing in the morning. I think a volume cup measure works just fine, and I don't know about you, but my eyes don't work so well in the morning. So a quarter cup of each of these oats goes into my performance bowl in the morning. Now that is your perfect base of energy, and that provides 170 calories, 58% of which are from complex carbohydrate. Now, I'm going to spend a little bit of time today to go through each macronutrient, your carbohydrate, your protein, and your fat. Because good nutrition starts in your mind, and the more you understand about why we're building this performance bowl the way we are, the more likely you are to do it. So let's start with carbohydrate. Carbohydrate is your body's preferred fuel source. It has no other function. It doesn't build things in your body. It's simply there to provide fuel. And there are three sorts of carbohydrate that you need to know about: simple carbohydrate, complex carbohydrate, and fiber. Fiber is a form of complex carbohydrate, so I'm just going to put it out there as one of the three carbohydrates you need to know about. Your simple carbohydrates, just think sugary foods. They're short chains of molecules that the body can just break down easily. So you get these bursts of energy, but they don't last very long. So your simple carbohydrates would be things like found in your fruits, things that are found in honey, and different kinds of syrup. Anything that tastes very sweet will be predominantly simple carbohydrate. Your complex carbohydrate is exactly that. It's longer chains of molecules all joined together. So the body has to work an awful lot harder and longer to break them down to release energy. That's why your complex carbohydrates release or your slow release energy. It releases energy steadily, slowly over time. Oatmeal, 58% complex carbohydrate. That is why it forms a perfect base for your performance bowl. Steady energy over time. And then you have your third carbohydrate, fiber. Now, fiber is an interesting one. Fiber is a very complicated, long chain of molecules all joined together, and the body can't really break it down. So fiber is not broken down and absorbed. It feeds the good bacteria in your gut, and of course it supports really healthy gut function. So it's a vital nutrient, but it's one that's not absorbed. And the interesting thing is when you look at labels, you'll see your total carbohydrate for that food, and you'll see it broken down into simple, and then carbohydrate and fiber, and you'll see a calorie count associated with the fiber. Well, that calorie count isn't absorbed, so it doesn't impact your total calorie count for the day. 14% of all the total calories in this plain bowl of oatmeal comes from protein. And oatmeal is a fantastic source of plant-based protein. Now, protein does have a function in the body. Everything that is built, regenerated, replenished, repaired has to use protein as one of your body's basic building blocks. And 19% of the calories in this very basic bowl of oatmeal come from very healthy fats. And fat, again, has a vital function in your body. Every single cell in your body somewhere is using fats to build things. So now we know that complex carbohydrate provides energy, proteins, healthy proteins, and fats your body uses to build things. So that's your basis for your performance bowl in the morning. That's what this does. Gives you energy, helps you build things, repair, regenerate, rejuvenate. So what do you add to your oatmeal in the morning to really help you go the distance? And that's a really important question, because a lot of us have to go from maybe 7 in the morning to 11 a.m. in the morning before we get another chance to snack. So I want you to think of the things you add to your oatmeal. And we have a tendency in this culture to put sugary things on top of our oatmeal. So we might put honey on top of our oatmeal, we might put a maple syrup, we might add fruit, which bananas or your berries, and that's a fair thing to do because it's high nutrition, of course. But adding sugar, simple sugar, on top of your complex carbohydrate gives you more calories, but it doesn't give you more of that slow, steady release of energy that you really well be needing mid-morning. So for me, when I think of a performance bowl, all of these sugary things go on last. They're just a nice burst of color in the end, a nice bit of nutrition in the end, but that's certainly not where enduring performance to get you through the day is going to come from. So I'm just going to move this stuff over here. And I'm more focused on what's in here and what this can do to keep you feeling full and keep your energy being released slower over a longer period of time. So for that to happen, we need to talk about proteins and we need to talk about fats. Joe actually made the comment that he thinks this cauliflower is just like his brain. And and I just thought, you know what, good luck with that. This cauliflower is much bigger than your brain. Maybe your brain is like this tomato.
Oh, smaller than that.
What is
Yeah,
it?
that's close.
This is almond. Other things to think about adding to your oatmeal. This is a very simple whey protein powder. And I like vanilla, so it's a vanilla flavor. You could easily just add a chocolate flavor, a protein powder. Now, you probably haven't thought about adding a protein powder to your oatmeal before, but that extra protein will slow down the absorption of your oatmeal, and I'm looking for that. I'm looking for something that's going to sustain the energy release over time, because a lot of us are so busy in the morning and you need to get a good 3 or 4 hours out of your oatmeal bowl. So I use about half a typical scoop of protein powder in there, maybe about enough to give me an extra 10 grams of protein, and it stirs in really easily to hot oatmeal. I don't cook it in the oatmeal, I put it on top of the oatmeal. So there's 10 grams of extra protein added to your oatmeal bowl. Then you go along to your nuts, and of course adding nuts to your oatmeal bowl is going to give you extra protein and extra fat, along with a ton of other nutrition, so I'm super supportive of that. Now, there's 2 ways to add nuts. You can either add raw, unsalted nuts, whatever you enjoy. I've just got some sitting out here that we always have around, almonds and cashews. But you know, a really easy thing to do is just take a tablespoon or a teaspoon of your nut butter and just stir that in to your oatmeal. It's so easy, it's time effective in the morning, and it stirs through your oatmeal, providing a really additional creamy texture. So it's not surprising to see me cook my oatmeal in the morning, add a good teaspoon of nut butter while it's hot, a little sprinkle of whey protein powder, and then of course, the cacao powder, of course, I'm going to add that. But let us not forget about the King of Kings, your cinnamon. And you know, it's easy just to sprinkle your cinnamon and think nothing of it, but this mighty cinnamon comes from the bark of a small evergreen tree, and it is so rich in plant polyphenols that are known to be antibacterial and antifungal. So I think the reason I'm focusing on this today is all of our food, it's really like a pharmacy at our fingertips. So every time you add something to your food, when you know what it's giving you, when you know how it's supporting your health and your well-being, you're more likely to do it. So the more time we spend in the kitchen, I'm going to be talking through all of the properties that these compounds actually bring you to right into your own kitchen, where you have your own health and your own well-being at your fingertips. So let's just wrap up with your oatmeal performance bowl in the morning. This bowl needs to get you through for a good 3 to 4 hours, so you need to layer your basic oatmeal with really sustaining, health-giving nutrients. So I want you to think about these kinds of ingredients: your desiccated coconut, your cacao powder, protein powder, your nuts or your nut butter, and your cinnamon. Whatever flavor appeals to you, just pick and mix, sprinkle things on in different amounts and see what appeals to you. Of course, then on top of that, add that beautiful burst of berry color, because they're providing an awful lot of antioxidants and an awful lot of really good nutrition on top of that. And I'm going to be really interested to see how you get on. I would love to get your feedback. So make sure you drop your comments below.